The Nikon Z8 is real. Let's talk about this. What's going on? Ryan Troy back with another video for you today. Now, recently I got the chance to interview Nikon and asked him everything that I wanted to know and a couple of things that you wanted to know as well. Now, I didn't get a chance to speak to you guys about how you felt, but I tried to respond in the comments as much as possible. And after that, I reached out to my contact at Nikon to let them know a couple things that you guys were saying and how I felt. Now, it was one particular thing in that video where I asked Mark the question of, do he think that there will be a Nikon Z6ii or Z7ii update that will make it like the Z9? Now, that's what I reached out about, and the things that they told me or the things that my contact told me was refreshing. Okay, but before I get into that, I want to say this. All right, this is one thing that I want you guys to understand. Okay, now when it comes to the Nikon Z9, because there's a lot of us that have the Z6ii and the Z7ii that just feel like we have been left behind. All right, one thing I want you to understand about a flagship. Now, every company has this flagship. Let's think of the iPhone, for example, right? We would say that the flagship iPhone will probably be the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I think it's Max, right? That's the flagship, right? But then they also have the iPhone. I was about to say the icon, the iPhone that majority of the people will buy. Now, everybody may not want or can afford that iPhone Max. They just want the iPhone. They just want the iPhone 13, okay? That's something that's going to have things trickled into it from their flagship, right? But the flagship is always made for one thing, and it's to show the people this is what we can do. Okay, so it's very important for a company to have a flagship of something, whether majority of the people buy that flagship or whether they buy something that is lower grade than that flagship with some things trickle down into it. Okay, so when I asked Mark this question, and I understand the same way you guys felt, I felt that same way when he laughed after I asked him that question. Is it possible with the two processors that the Z6ii and Z7ii have to get just the eye autofocus or the tracking anywhere close to the Z9? But when I got a chance to really think about it, and when I reached out to my contact, it really made sense to me. One, I worded that question 100% wrong. And it's not what I was asking, it just came off that way, right? We know it's not physically possible for them to push out an update that will make the Z6ii and the Z7ii on par with the Z9. It's just physically not possible. What I should have asked was, is there an update that will come that will bring some of the features from the Z9 to the Nikon Z7 and Z6ii? With that being said, the reason why I think that Mark chuckled or laughed when I asked that is because they never viewed the Nikon Z9 the way we viewed the Nikon Z9 at that time. See, this new firmware update, the 2.0 firmware that we got from Nikon, I think that Nikon has been looking at this camera in that way the whole time. Now, this isn't some little firmware update. I did not cover the news, but it's been a few days, if not a week, since that news came out. So we all know what came with the firmware update. There's no need for me to fill you in on it. And if you need to be filled in on it, just search it. But I think that Nikon has been looking at this Z9 knowing that it would be getting these upgrades from the beginning. So when I ask a question like, do you think that the Z6ii or the Z7ii could ever be like the Z9? Yeah, that is laughable, right? It's laughable. Now, I don't think that us wanting certain things from the Z9 is impossible to get. We're not going to get AK, we know that, but I don't see any reason for us not to get N-Log, right? You was able to send in your Nikon Z6ii for a update to be able to capture video raw, not internally, but with the Ninja Atomos, which is what I'm recording on right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if some type of way they were able to get in-log or RAW, the in-RAW that is so much smaller than ProRes RAW on the Nikon Z6ii and Z7ii. Now, I don't want to make this video long, and I want to get right into what the title is. Yes, the Z8 is real, and I'm about to tell you how or why right now. As you know, we just got the update 1.40 for the Nikon Z6ii and Z7ii. Now, a lot of people, including myself, but not publicly, I haven't voiced my frustration when I heard about it. And if I did, I probably would have bit my tongue with it. I did feel a way that it wasn't a 2.0 firmware. But one thing that it let me know is this: since it is a 1.4 update, one thing that you guys can all feel sure about it is that Nikon has not forgot about us. Although it may seem like they have, Nikon has not forgot about us, okay? The Nikon Z6, the original mirrorless Z6 and Z7 are on firmware 3.0, right? I, once upon a time, thought that at the end of this year, we would be getting the Z6ii and the Z7ii. But considering we're not on firmware 2.0 yet, I don't think that we're getting that. In fact, I think Nikon has something up their sleeves. See what I did there? And that is a 2.0 update. Now, I think that we may get this update when the Z8 comes out. Now, I want to speak a little bit on what I feel about the Nikon Z8, okay? Me personally, I think that the Z7 is it's going to phase out. I think the Z7ii is going to be the last of it in its series. But the Z6, right? It may not be that flagship, but it is the camera from Nikon that most people buy. It's in your budget. It's already a great hybrid camera. The Z7ii, which is what I use for all of my photography, high megapixels, great resolution, all of that stuff, right? That's made for a specific type of person, a person like me. Where the Z6ii is made for more people. The Z6ii can do great with video recording. When you compare it to the Z9, no, but for what it is, it can do great with recording. It does great photos. It's just an all-around great hybrid camera. That's what it is. And I think Nikon will be foolish to not keep the Z6 line what it is, right? So as we're looking at the Z6ii, just note the Z6ii, the Z6ii? No, the Z9, I'm sorry. 6.9. Oh, listen. Whoa. Anyway, as we're thinking about the Z9, okay, that's just not a camera that all of us are going to buy. And I see a lot of people saying, hey, Nikon, everybody can't afford to buy that camera. Why are you only putting out that camera? Or why are you only promoting that camera? The Z6ii is where it is. The Z6 line is going to be the future. Trust me. But when it comes to this Z8, one thing that you should expect is it to kill the Z7 line and be everything the Z7 failed to be, okay? The Z7, although I love the camera, for what it is, it could be way better, okay? The Z7 is just I was about to use the word better. Let's not use that word. The Z7 is literally it's supposed to be the big brother to the Z6. It's literally identical. Any attachment, accessory you throw on the Z6, you could throw on the Z7. They look identical. If you don't get close enough to it to see that it says 7 instead of 6, you would think it's the same camera. That was a mistake for them, because more people probably would just buy the Z6. Now the Z8, oh, trust and believe. If the Z7 was supposed to be the mirrorless D850, it failed. And a lot of people that came from the D850, arguably the best DSLR camera invented by anybody, not just Nikon. If that was supposed to be the Z7, it did not live up to that hype. And Nikon knows that. Not saying the Z7 line is a horrible line, because it's amazing and I love it. But for everybody that came from the D850 that thought they was gonna come and jump onto the Z7, yeah, they probably was disappointed. And I think that is what we are gonna get with the Z8. Now, a lot of people, they think that this is gonna be the best camera for video as well. No, I think Nikon is gonna focus on straight photography with this camera, and it will be great. And I'm gonna tell you why. It lines them up to be able to do more things video wise with the Z6. The Z6 was always really intended for its video capabilities. So when you have a dedicated camera, that's, just think about if you had a Z8. I said Z8, and I did that like with strength. Okay, so let me say it right and bring it in again. Let's say you had a Z9 and you stripped all of the amazing video capabilities away from it, right? And you gave a person a Z8 with that. So none of the great video capabilities, just all of the great photography abilities. You're not killing the Z9 market. You're not killing it at all. But you are setting yourself up for a less expensive camera around the Z7ii price line. And there's a market for that. There are a lot of people that do not care about video. It's so many people that really love the Nikon Z9, but do not care about video whatsoever. You gave them the ability to take a a Z8 with just the photo capabilities of the Z9. It's a market for that. And then if you follow that up in the future with a Z6 III that has a lot of the video capabilities of the Z9, it's a huge market for that. I don't want to get too much into video because I do think that they could take the Z5 line. That's just like, why does it exist? Who out there is buying a Z5? Let me know. If you own a Z5 and you chose not to buy the Z6 over the Z5, just let me know who you are. Comment down below, please. So if you chose to do that, I don't know, to me that's just weird. If you own one, let me know. If they want to get into just straight video, I think the Z5 is just a line that you just change around and you do that. But the Z6 line is going to be the line for hybrid. I think maybe 6K video, as far as not being 8K, because 8K is not really something you need. We're just going down. We're just going to take it down to 4K anyway. It's just good to have that extra resolution. But the Z7 line, I think, is gone. I think that this will be the last one. And I think that with the announcement of the Nikon Z8, I think that's when the Z6ii and the Z7ii will get their firmware 2.0 that gives it more capabilities of doing more. Nikon has something up their sleeves. They have not forgot about us. Trust me, when I spoke to my Nikon contact, I said connect. He's not giving me anything illegal, I promise. When I spoke with him, he let me know one thing, and it's that they listen to the audience, they listen to their consumer base. So please continue to be vocal, because as you are vocal, you are helping us out, believe it or not. If you think Nikon is not listening to us, just know that they are. So everything that you write in the comment section, he knew about things that was said in my comment section before I even brought it up. So keep being vocal, keep commenting, keep letting Nikon know exactly what it is that you want, and you will be pleased. The Z8 is real. It's very real. Expect it by the end of the year. Until the next video, peace.